And as you're breathing, just thinking about on the inhale through the nose, really expanding the belly, bringing the breath all the way down. And on the exhale, releasing the breath out through the nose, tucking the navel in towards the spine. And we're just going to take 3 releasing breaths together. So on the inhale, filling up the belly. And on the exhale, release it out through the mouth. Inhale, expanding the belly like a balloon. And exhale, let it all go. And just one more deep inhale. And on the exhale, release. Beautiful. Now from wherever you are, you can begin to maybe just take the hands to either side of the knees and just begin to bring the knees together, staying on the back. Now, if you have a strap, I highly encourage you use it, or even a men's tie, for example, that you don't mind using, or a towel. It's going to help you just with a few of our poses at the start of this class, maybe even a blanket. So all we're going to do is you're going to lengthen the left leg out on the mat and reach the right leg up so that the sole of the foot is pointing towards the sky. Now, if you have a strap, beautiful. You can hook the strap to the sole of the right foot and just begin to pull forward. If you don't have a strap, that's perfectly all right as well. You can just grab a hold of maybe the calf, maybe the ankle or the thigh, and just gently begin to guide the leg in towards the body. And again, breathing into wherever you're feeling this deep opening in the back of the leg. And what we're going to do is, if you do have a strap, a blanket, a tie, whatever you've got handy, you're going to hold on with the right hand and release the left arm to the ground, maybe in a cactus or in a T. And you're just slowly going to allow that right leg to drop over to the right side of the mat, to the right side of the body. I have a wall, so I can't really release it down onto the ground. Maybe you can reach the ground, maybe not. And if you don't have a strap, just trying to see how much you can just organically release the leg down to the right side of the body, just finding a nice opening. Beautiful. And we're going to move it over to the other side. So if you do have a strap, for example, taking that strap with the left hand, reaching the right arm into a cactus or a T, or otherwise just using your hand to guide your leg, we're going to let the right leg drop over to the left side of our mat. And what you might be feeling here is a really beautiful IT band opening stretch in the leg. Beautiful. And on the inhale, bringing the leg back to center. Maybe just give it one last tug forward towards the body, with the sole of the foot pointing up towards the sky. And if you did have a strap, releasing that from the foot and just hugging the right knee in towards the chest. And while you're keeping that right knee hugged in towards the chest, you're going to bend the left leg, just planting the sole of the foot into the earth. And we're going to take that bent right leg and we're going to come into a reclined figure 4 pose. So bringing the ankle right above the knee. And you're going to thread the hands and bring them around the front left knee, and just gently begin to pull the leg forward towards you, opening up the right hip. Making any subtle adjustments if you're feeling any pain in the right knee. Just beginning to open up our hip space. Beautiful. Beginning to release, letting the left foot drop to the floor. Stretch the right leg along the mat, dropping it to the earth. And this time we're going to take the same little mini sequence on the other side. So left leg reaches up towards the sky. If you do have a strap, bring that around the sole of the foot. And if you don't, that's okay. Just reaching, tugging the leg gently forward. Also remembering that maybe you're not locking the knee, just a slight micro bend, or if you want to take a generous bend in the knee and that better supports your practice today, feeling free. Although I'm teaching the class, it's really your space. I'm just facilitating it. So any modifications, any different variations you'd like to take today that feel better for your body, I really encourage you to do so. And on the exhale, again, maybe holding onto the strap with the left hand or holding onto the leg, just letting the leg drop out to the left. Maybe you reach the floor, maybe the leg hovers just a bit, a few inches off the ground. And when you're ready, bringing the leg back through center. This time, maybe you take hold of the strap with the right hand or the leg with the right hand. And we're just going to begin to drop the left leg over to the right side of your mat. Again, really feeling that really nice IT band opening stretch. Keeping your focus on the breath. You really want to stay in the present moment. So I'd like to offer you maybe a mantra to ground yourself if you're ever feeling your mind's getting distracted, just thinking the root words, I am. And maybe I am enough. I am confident. I am intelligent. Whatever serves you today, whatever intention feels best and feels most genuine to you. Reaching the leg back through center, and again, just giving it a gentle pull forward. We're going to release the strap, bend and hug the left knee in towards the chest. Beautiful. And again, we're going to take that reclined figure four, or some people call it reclined pigeon, on the other side. So bending the right knee, planting the sole of the foot into the earth. We're going to bring the ankle of the left leg just above the right knee. You're going to thread your hands in between, clasping them on the outer side of the right knee, and just gently begin to pull forwards. Feeling the opening in the left hip space, breathing into where you're feeling the stretch. And release, really nice. And we're going to make our way onto hands and knees into our tabletop position. We're going to take some gentle cat cows. So you're going to stack your wrists underneath your shoulder, your knees directly underneath the hips, tabletop, flat back. And we're going to drop into our cow pose. So on the inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze and the tailbone upwards as you broaden through the collarbones. And on the exhale, tucking the chin in towards the chest, the tailbone in towards the body as you arch the spine into cat. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, heart shines forward into your cow pose. And exhale, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone, arching the spine into your cat, and just begin to take these cat-cows at your own pace, moving at the pace of your breath. If you'd like to incorporate any organic movement into these cat-cows, that feels good. Maybe you find yourself circling the spine almost as if it's rolling in a barrel. Feel free. Whatever's going to feel best for you today. Beautiful. Wherever you are, taking your last deep inhale and exhale, making your way back to tabletop. And we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So tucking under the toes, spreading through the fingers, peel the tailbone up towards the sky. Try to externally rotate the forearms to make a little bit more space for the head and for the neck. And you can just begin to bend one knee at a time. Finding your space in your downward dog. If you're a little bit uncomfortable, you're feeling a little bit tight, you can always take a gentle bend in the knees. Being sure to press through the knuckles to alleviate any pain you might feel in the wrists. And we're going to make our way to the front of the mat. So on the inhale, gazing towards the front of the mat, and on the exhale, stepping or floating to the front, coming into a flat back. Sorry, headphone fell out. Now on your flat back, you can always have your hands on the thighs, on the shins, maybe fingertips on the floor. And on the exhale, forward fold. This is our first forward fold. Maybe you take a generous bend in the knees. I'm going to encourage you to make your way into ragdoll in your forward fold. So taking the hands to either elbow, maybe just rocking from side to side. Maybe you bend and straighten one knee at a time, whatever you can do to feel a really nice opening. And on the inhale, you're going to root down the feet to rise up, bringing the hands all the way up towards the sky. Hands come together, and exhale to heart center. Beautiful. So we're in our sun salutations, our namaskars A's. So on the inhale, reaching the arms up to the sky, and on the exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hip creases. On the inhale, coming to a flat back, maybe with the hands on the thighs or the fingertips on the floor. In spine prep, and on the exhale, plant the palms into the mat. Step the feet back into a high plank. And peel the bottom upwards into your downward facing dog. And we'll take that little sequence again. On the inhale, gazing towards the front of the mat, stepping or hopping up to the front, coming to a flat back and forward fold. Letting everything go. On the inhale, root down to rise up, reaching the arms towards the sky. And on the exhale, hands through heart center. Just take a second here to bring the focus back to the breath. Ground through all four corners of the feet to find stillness in the mind. Again, on the inhale, root down to rise up, reaching the arms up, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, find length, make space. And exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back into a high plank, and tilt the tailbone up into your downward facing dog. Beautiful. On the inhale, reach the right leg up into the air for a three-legged dog. Now maybe you just hold it here, maybe you bend the knee. And just feel a nice opening in the hips. If you are bending the knee, making sure not to compress too deeply into favoring one shoulder or the other, trying to keep the shoulders equally distributed with your weight. If you did bend the knee to open up the hip, reaching the right leg back up into a three-legged dog. And on the exhale, we're going to find lizard pose. So planting the sole of the foot to the outer edge of the right side of the mat, outside that right hand, dropping the left knee down to the earth. So from here, we have options. Option one, you can just press into the hands. Maybe this feels good enough for you. Maybe you rock from side to side, feeling that nice opening. Option two, if you're feeling a little bit more flexible with your hip space, you can always press down onto the forearms. Whatever feels right. And if you did press down into the forearms, I'm going to encourage you to press back up into the hands. And so take an optional quad stretch here. So reaching the right arm back and maybe lifting the left foot, seeing how it feels to take a hold of the left foot with the right hand. If that's not completely accessible to you today, you could always place a strap around the foot and pull it towards you. And opening up the shoulders, the torso towards the sky as you pull the leg gently in. Really lovely. Release the foot if you took hold of it. And just begin to shift that right foot into the center of your mat. And we're going to make our way into a low lunge. So reaching the arms up towards the sky, sinking into the right hip, finding that the knee is stacked directly over the right ankle so that we're not, bending the knee too far forward where we might be injuring ourselves. And if you do have blocks, feeling free to take those to either side. You don't need them. Just an option. We're going to make our way into a half split. So beginning to just straighten the front leg, tilting the hips backwards. And from here, you can take the fingertips to blocks, maybe the fingertips to floor, and you can stay here in a flat back, or you can begin to gently fold forward. As you fold forward, working to square off the hips, pulling the left hip forward and the right hip back. Beautiful. We're going to bend into the right knee, making our way back into our low lunge. We're going to come into an easy twist, dropping the left hand to the inner edge of the right foot. And we're going to pop onto the ball of the left foot so that we're taking the left knee off the ground, gazing upwards. And from here, I'm going to encourage you to make your way into a revolved crescent lunge. So all that's going to mean is that you're going to begin to tilt the torso upwards, arms come to a T into a high lunge. But you're going to keep the torso facing the right side wall, finding your balance. Beautiful. From here, we're going to come into a reverse warrior. Dropping the right hand down to the thigh, reaching the left arm overhead, maybe gazing upwards. And on the exhale, cartwheel the hands to either side of the right foot. Step it back into a high plank and peel the bottom back up towards the sky for your downward facing dog. And we're going to take the same sequence on the other side. So the left leg reaches up into a three-legged dog. Maybe you bend the knee, opening up through the hip a little bit. And if you did bend the knee, straightening the leg. And we're going to come into our lizard pose from our three-legged dog, planting the sole of the left foot to the outer edge of the left side of your mat. You're going to drop the right knee down to the ground. And from here, we've got our options. Option one, you can just rock from side to side, staying pressed up onto the hands. And option two, you can bring the forearms down to the mat. if you're living in a more open hip space. Again, I'm going to offer you that completely optional quad stretch if you'd like to take it, pressing up onto the hands, reaching the left arm back, and grabbing hold of the right foot, pulling it in towards the body. Maybe you gaze upwards, opening up the chest to the sky. And release, lovely, taking the sole of the left foot to the direct center of your mat, finding your way into your low lunge, reaching the arms up, sinking into the left hip, left knee stacked over left ankle. And we're going to find our way into a half split, so beginning to straighten the left leg. Maybe you find your fingertips to blocks, maybe you find your fingertips coming to the floor, maybe you fold forward, squaring off the hips as much as you can, pulling the right hip forward as you pull the left hip back. Toes are flexed, pointed towards the sky. Really wonderful. And begin to bend back into the left knee, coming back up into your low lunge. And we'll take an easy twist again on the other side. So right hand plants down to the center of the mat. You're going to come up onto the ball of the right foot, gazing upwards, reaching the left arm up overhead. And if it feels right for you, you can, of course, stay here. Otherwise, I'd encourage you to move into a revolved crescent lunge. So tilting the torso upwards, facing the left side while arms come out into a T. On the inhale, dropping the left hand to the thigh, reaching the right arm overhead, finding a reverse warrior variation. And on the exhale, hands cartwheel to either side of the left foot. Step it back and peel the bottom upwards into your downward facing dog. Again, maybe you just bend out, walking your dog, bending the knees. And on the inhale, reach the right leg up towards the sky, three-leg dog. We're going to take a pigeon pose. So as you pull the foot forward, bending the knee, and bringing the shin maybe parallel to the front short edge of your mat. Now you can stay here pressed up onto the hands. If you find your right hip is popping up at all, you can always modify by placing a block underneath. And if it feels good, maybe you begin to fold forward into your sleeping pigeon. And beginning to walk the hands back in towards the body. Pressing up, tucking the left toes, stepping the right foot back, making your way back into your downward facing dog. This time, reaching the left leg up into a three-legged dog. And on the exhale, making our way into pigeon on the left side. So bending the left knee, bringing the left shin about parallel to the front of the mat. Maybe you stay here pressed up onto the hands. Or maybe you begin to fold forward, walking the hands down into our sleeping pigeon. This time on the left. Throughout the body, we have these, we'll call them spinning energetic wheels, so to speak. They're just these subtle energetic bodies, and we call them chakras. And the area that's opened up through hip openers, through pigeon pose, is the area where we find the sacral chakra. And that's said to have your creative energies, so to speak. So we often find in hip openers, we begin to kind of open up this stuck energy in the body, and maybe you can feel a little bit more creative. On the inhale, pressing back into the palms, tucking under the right toes, making your way back into your downward facing dog. And on the exhale, you're going to step or hop to a seat, stretching the legs out in front of you. And we're just going to take a Paschimottanasana, forward fold, reaching the arms up, finding length in the spine now. You can always prop a block underneath the bottom to just get a better lengthening through the spine. And hinging from the hip creases, folding forward. Now I always encourage when we move into our forward folds to bring the belly to thighs, as opposed to thinking of bringing the head to the knees, because we're thinking more of lengthening through the spine, through the crown of the head, rather than hunching forward, if that makes sense. On the inhale, rise up, planting the soles of the feet into the earth, bending the knees, reaching the arms out in front of you, and just gently start to slowly find your back down to the mat. Really slowly engaging the core a bit as you move backwards. And let it go. Really nice. So we're just going to hug the knees in towards the chest. Maybe you rock from side to side, massaging the lower spine. I'm just going to encourage you to take any final movements before we move into our Shavasana that might feel good. So maybe a happy baby, if that feels right for you, maybe some spinal twists. I'm going to take a happy baby. So holding the outside edges of the feet, pushing the knees in towards the armpits. Maybe straightening one leg at a time, or any other movements that might feel good. And when you're ready, from wherever you are, extending the legs out in front of you, I'm going to press the backs of the hands down into the earth, palms facing upwards, beginning to close the eyes, making our way into our Shavasana, really one of the most important postures of our practice. Releasing any tension in the body. Quiet mind, quiet body, Shavasana. Now maybe you start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, just finding a tad bit of movement in your Shavasana. Really taking your time, knowing that you can stay there as long as you would like. Maybe you take a full stretch through the body, reaching the arms upwards, reaching out through the legs. Maybe you rock yourself to one side, maybe your right or your left. Gently beginning to find yourself coming into a seat. And if you are in a seat, maybe taking the hands to heart center, or sometimes maybe it feels better for you to plant one hand over the heart and the other hand on top. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. The light in me recognizes, honors, and loves the light in you. Namaste, yogis. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing space with me, for coming today. I am very pleased to say that Hanson said if you'd like to enter your name into our yoga mat giveaway, please put your first and your last name along with your email into the chat. And Hanson says that he will be announcing 2 winners at the end, which is amazing. Thank you so much, Rosemary. Thank you for coming.